The station other radio stations think they really are. We are Boom Radio.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is the Boombar on your Boom Radio NG. My name is Shola Rojas.
And my name is Ola Delukwa. You know, the one and only.
Yes, and together we will be bringing you the bar. If you're joining us for the first time, we bid you a very warm welcome. And just to let you know what the bar is all about. The
Basically,
Boom Bar.
it's just about entertainment, sports, news, and everything else in between. You know, just bring you all the gist of everything in Nigeria and everything else happening all around the world.
Simply put, it's a bar. We have
Anyway.
we have the drinks.
Definitely, we're talking about...
Sorry, I have the drinks.
Oh, yeah.
Or the drink. Or a drink.
Anyway, as we're going right into the bar this very interesting afternoon, we're going to be starting with something that has been on everybody's lips since yesterday evening. And before we go on, I want to sound a note of warning. So Mr. Tinubu and his cabinet, his media people, why is it that you people don't used to release news when it's bright in the day? If it's not 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Okay.
Yes, no.
And if you don't release news at night, I don't understand. Is there something with this night matter?
You say somebody is batty. You're saying it should not release.
I don't understand because for personal reasons, it's not making sense. I'm just saying. Just wanted to put that out there. Anyway, last night President Tinubu had released the portfolios of his ministerial nominees. First things first, they're going to be what's the word now? They're going to be sworn in on Monday, next week Monday. So that is out of the way. But the conversation is about these portfolios. And he seems to be a very unpredictable human being. And we can see it with these portfolios as well. We're going to look through the portfolios. We're going to see what they are, what the thought should have been, and maybe a few people's reactions from it as well.
Okay.
So, there are a couple of people that, you know, would say that maybe they were round pegs in round holes, or you would, what's the word now? It wasn't out of place.
Some were predictable.
Some were very predictable. Not a lot, but a few of them. Take, for example, the Minister of Communications, Information, Innovation, and Digital Technology. If digital economy, if I remember very well, that ministry was Communications and Digital Economy. There was no innovation in that.
There's sure innovation somewhere in someone's things. Yeah? So, okay, so because he added innovation now.
I just wanted.
We should clap for
him. I thought we're talking about ministries and how they are.
Yeah, we are.
Scattered.
I mean, I'm giving my reaction already. No,
Okay.
or you want to give me a script to react to?
So, this one was given to Mr. Bosun Tijani, the very controversial Bosun Tijani. But if we look through his antecedents and his the works that he's done, he's really into tech. He's a tech person through and through. So, you know, pretty much predictable, yeah? In the person of Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edun, who is an investment banker. And, you know, if you look through, it's kind of pretty much very predictable. Also, Minister of Marine and Blue Economy. We didn't have Blue Economy before, but now we do. Now a lot of people, it got a lot of people asking what's Blue Economy. Basically, any money that can be made is from water resources, not water resources because there's what the Ministry of Water, but from the sea, basically. That's what blue economy is. Also, we saw the Ministry of Works. Before we had I think President Buhari's first term, we had Power, Housing and Works under the same person. Then he broke it off from I think he broke Power off, and then it was Works and Housing. Now we have Ministry of Works separately. I think we have Ministry of Housing separately. I'm not sure. I saw Ministry of Housing, but I know that it's Ministry of Works. And it's the former governor of Ebonyi State, Dave Umahi. And that was one that was, a little controversial because there were a few people that... but you can also say that it was not a bad pick for that kind of a person. Also, there are a few people as well. The Minister of State for Water Resources, the Minister for Water Resources and Sanitation. I know I'd read a bit of it and about him, and it seemed to be like he is what's the word now? He's basically, he has PhD in water engineering and all those things. So yeah. Makes
round peg in a round hole.
Round peg in a round hole. That would, I would say, makes a lot of sense as well. So there are a few other people, that you would not. Yeah, the person of Joseph Utsef. There, that was the name I was trying to pick. But one of the things that one of the people that got a lot of people talking started with the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. And then you wonder, what was the president thinking about? You know that Mr. Wike is a lawyer. Okay, before we get to that, the Attorney General of the Federation and the Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, is a lawyer. He is a seasoned lawyer, so if you didn't give him that, I don't know what else you would have given him. Even though there are a few other lawyers, there are a few other SANs in this on this list. Festus Keyamo is a son, there are a few people on that list, but of course it's something that he does. He's been a lawyer all his life, so it was not out of place. Now let's go back to Mr. Nyesom Wike and being the the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory. Keep in mind, now I think this is the first time the FCT is having two ministers, because they have a Minister of State as well. My questions: number one, how large is the FCT that they need two ministers? Number two, why Wike? There's a ministerial nominee that came from the Federal Capital Territory. Yeah, so you would have almost thought, I think Zephaniah Gisalo, you would have almost thought that it was going to be him.
Yeah, okay, so good question. Like we said in our headlines, Tinubu's ministers, yay or nay. For me, Wike is a yay as Minister of the FCT. The FCT is not only about the space, the Federal Capital Territory. There are departments under him also, under the ministry. It's an interesting ministry because a minister of the FCT is like a pseudo-governor.
No, yeah, for the FCT, yes, yeah. I agree.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I wasn't referring to you. Please go on.
Okay, so he's like a pseudo-governor. And Wike has been a governor for 8 years. Before Wike became a governor, he was a minister. Before he became a minister, he was a local government chairman. He is a lawyer. He's eminently qualified. In fact, he's overqualified to be minister of the FCT. Now, one of the reasons why the FCT became very attractive is that when the government came up with the idea of creating a new federal capital, moving it out of Lagos, because Lagos was in the southwest and was a city that is exposed to attack from the water waves. waterways, amongst other things. Lagos was becoming congested and all of that. But again, it was exposed. And they said, okay, let's go to the center. Take it to the center. Again, it being in the center also means that everybody will not find it difficult to connect to the center. So they moved it to the center, took over land from the Abaji people and a couple of other people there, and it became Abuja. Then, all through those years, the place was not that popular until a certain Nasir El-Rufai became the minister.
Yeah.
and the man did a lot of work in Abuja.
Oh yeah, he literally revolutionized the whole concept. He changed
things a lot.
Yeah.
And what he did was just go back to the master plan, because there is a master plan, and he brought in innovations and everything went well. After him, there have been other ministers, but honestly, with due respect to them, we've not really heard much about them. So Wike comes in the mode of a Nasir El-Rufai, who is going to bring development. One of the things that you should expect is that he has the penchant for infrastructural development.
Yeah.
Abuja needs that. Abuja is witnessing an explosion now. A lot of people are relocating there. The way they relocate to Lagos, Abuja is like that now. So you start to look at the satellite cities and the road network. There's a lot of work to be done in Abuja. As nice as Abuja looks, there's a lot of work to be done there still to maintain the standard and even up it. So for me, Wike is eminently. So why Wike? Yes, Wike is qualified because he has the executive experience and otherwise.
Okay, now a few other things that I want to talk about. Another person that a lot of people have been talking about for Wike. Maybe I'll say that I might agree a little bit with it because I don't think a lot of people saw it coming. But it might not be a bad idea completely, as we know that Wike over time has been more of an infrastructural person. So that might not be a bad idea. Now, another person that I felt that was an interesting pick is the Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo. Of course, we've seen him in the Ministry of the Niger Delta. We've seen him in the Ministry of Labor, which I personally feel that being a Minister of State in Labor, he actually didn't do badly. My personal opinion. So if we go by that, what's he doing in the Ministry of Aviation? He's a lawyer. What are you doing in the Ministry of Aviation?
All right. For me, I didn't see Keyamo in aviation. But there's one thing that we must realize. Hardly have we ever had some kind of aviation expert in the Ministry of Aviation. Go and check, just go through, the records and everything. And I think what might stand him in good stead is his background as a lawyer and his experience in the private sector. Because what he basically needs is to understand the rules and the laws of the sector. And he might, become, a good Minister of Aviation. We've had quite a few who have been okay, and we've had some who have been very good, and we've had some who have been, So, yeah. But still, wouldn't it have been better to have gotten an aviation expert?
Because I'm not even sure there's an aviation expert.
That's it. That's what I'm saying, yay or nay to the ministerial list. Wouldn't it have been better, For me, Keyamo, because of his capacity, might function well and do well, but I would not have gambled on
learning on the job.
On putting him in the Ministry of Aviation.
Yeah, interesting views actually. Also, another set of people that you would feel that I think worked is the coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Ali Pate. It was almost, as much as we know that there were a few doctors on this list, yeah, but it was almost not negotiable that this person was going to be on that list. Also, the person of Dr. Betta Edu, who I think is in humanitarian affairs and all that, I was reading a bit about her. Other than the fact that she's a doctor, she has masters in social work and all that. So, in public health. So, those kind of things make sense. Now, another very interesting person for me is the Ministry of Information. Everybody, not let me say everybody, but at least most people had thought that Mr. Dele Alake was going to be the Minister of Information. Now, the ministry is called the Ministry of Information and National Orientation. I think Nigeria needs a lot of, first things first, I think the whole ministry, the whole agency, the National Orientation Agency, needs to be scrapped and rebuilt all over again, because I think they're doing absolutely nothing. Personal opinion. But anyway, the person that he's now the Minister of Information, in the person of Mohammed Idris, who in the real sense of it is also a media entrepreneur. So you can say he's a round peg in a round hole. The issue for me is Mr. Dele Alake, who for the longest of times, all we've heard about him is either he's into communications and strategy and all that, and now he's being moved to the Ministry of Mines.
Yeah, it's actually interesting that Dele Alake pops up as solid minerals and mines, or what did you call it now? It's actually a very interesting thing. Like, I'm like, okay. I didn't, for the life of me, I wonder why, the president took this decision. Now, with due respect to President Bola Tinubu, I respect his acumen and his intellect. Everybody says that he's a good head hunter. He knows how to recruit. And that's one of the USPs that people use to campaign for him. So maybe that's one of those things that we don't see that he says that is playing out here by putting Dele Alake there. Because being someone that works in the media, we look at the Ministry of Information as mainly from our angle. But there are so many things. In fact, the parastatals that are under the Ministry of Information are humongous. And they're all very strategic. So, and when he was in Lagos, he was the Minister of Information and Strategy. They created that strategy out of it. So I'm like, okay, you need a guy like this. But I think what they've done is that with their essays, like someone like Ajirin Gilali and all, they brought in someone who's equally, outspoken and intelligent, that can push the message of the minister. So that's the president, sorry. So that's someone who caters to the president's needs. Now, what we need is someone who will cater to that entire ministry for Nigerians, And so, without any prejudice, I cannot fault the appointment of the minister that is there. The one that shocks me is that Alake is not the one that was chosen. It looked like it was a given. He had been playing that role even before it was made an essay.
Yeah.
It was an essay in that particular position a couple of weeks ago. Then now he's going to be a minister in a different ministry. One of the things that I feel is that some kind of musical roundtable had happened solely because of one person that pulled out or refused to continue based on the issues that they had at the screening.
According to the story that popped up, and there was even a list that was all over social media yesterday, there's still a particular ministry that has still not been allocated.
Yeah, which
is meant for Kaduna State. I can't remember exactly which it is.
So that's exact. That has nothing to do with what I was saying.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is that Nasir El-Rufai, during the screening, we all watched it live, talked about his plans for power, and he even let the cat out of the bag by saying that this is what the president wants him to do, and this is what they had discussed. So this is where I'm going with my own permutations. I'm not listening to any stories. I'm just deducing from facts. Nasir El-Rufai was supposed to be power. Now, power is Adelabu.
Adelabu, yeah.
So my thinking is that Adelabu being a financial person...
is very interesting because he's a financial person.
So my thinking is Adelabu being a financial person would have been the minister for solid minerals and all of that. Alake would have retained his information ministry and strategy and whatever. and El Rufai would have been Minister for Power. I'm thinking that Mr. President saying that El Rufai will not be part of his cabinet anymore, to reshuffle and take Adelabu from wherever it was going to be in solid minerals. It's my opinion. No, please don't. I wasn't anywhere where they were planning it. It's just me thinking. And he had to play some, musical chairs there and say, okay, Dele, you go here, and Adelabu, you go here, and then we look for something for Kaduna and put them in another ministry. That is what I believe, and that is what I want to stay with until someone comes to tell me something more smarter than that.
Okay, so now, interesting. We're also going to be talking, before we leave all that, what two people that I feel that we also need to be, that I think that is very important, is the Minister of Youth and the Minister of Sport. Now, this was a ministry before, and I know that even you included have always been an advocate of separating it. There should be two different ministries, which looks like the president has now finally seen that there is a need to separate it, which I totally agree with. But now, do those people really work in those places?
I'm not going to say anything about the Minister of Youth because it's a new ministry that, and I don't know much about the person that's going to be there. And I deliberately just don't want to say anything about the Ministry of Youth because I want to save my energy for the Ministry of Sports. I actually have a strong affinity and a soft spot for sports, being in the industry for a couple of days. I've always maintained that they were supposed to separate it. I'm glad that they've done that. But I've always also said it, that politicians do not understand sports at all. And President Bola Tinubu has proven me right again. This is my camera, right?
Yes.
He has proven me right again. And what he has done is do what every politician in the past has done. They take sports as a joke and they take it lightly. And they always never get people who understand sports to come and run sports. So what usually happens is that when these people get the appointment to manage the sports industry, they have to learn. They have to learn, and they have to learn from whoever is available to them. Maybe their friend that is a supporter of one club, because they don't know nothing about sports. They don't even have a favorite football club or anything. And if they do, they don't know nothing about the club. They're just doing it for photo ops. I saw a very funny video yesterday. Some of the supporters of the new Minister of Sports posted a picture of him on a treadmill. And they said that job has started. And I said to myself,
excuse you.
This is one of the funniest things ever. Now, you see, running on a treadmill has nothing to do with being a good Minister of Sports.
Yeah, the business of sports.
Understanding that sports is a multi-billion-dollar industry will bring Nigeria out of the doldrums and all the issues that we have to another level. The way we export entertainment now, look at our musicians. They're doing great. Government cannot really say they did anything for them. Mm-hmm. They can't really say that. But our guys are doing great. Nollywood is acclaimed as number 2 or number 3 in the world, depending on who you listen to. Now, sports can employ millions of people and generate millions also for Nigeria in foreign exchange. If only we understood it. They said Ministry of Sports Development. It sounded like you're going to focus on one aspect, because sports is broken into elite sports and grassroots sports. So you said Ministry of Sports. So if you say sports development, are you going to jettison elite sports?
Elite sports, yeah.
Sports. Look at all the departments under sports, and you're going to bring someone who doesn't know nothing about sports. Due respect to him, he's a farmer. He's doing very well. He's a senator. He's doing well there too. I get all of that. But he's coming to learn. And that's my problem.
There's really no time for that.
And if he now falls into the wrong hands, he falls into the trap, then he's going to come across and do a lot of things. Look at the former minister. Mr. Sunday Dare came, and we had high expectations because we thought it was going to learn quick and going to do well. But look at some of the funny decisions that they took. For instance, the Nigerian female basketball team qualified to represent Nigeria at the World Cup, and you pulled out. And look at the men now. They can't even qualify for Olympics qualifier or pre-qualifier that we are hosting. These are the issues. And you're going to bring a guy who doesn't know nothing about it. He's going to learn. And when he learns, then he starts. Then before you know it, it's 4 years. So again, sports has gotten the short end of the stick. I tweeted it weeks ago because I had a premonition that he was going to do the same thing, and he has done it. I don't see how you're going to bring someone who knows nothing about sports. Like, I went through his profile like dog. I was hoping to see that at some point maybe he was a member of one association, one sporting federation. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I stand to be corrected. I want to be wrong. I want that in 2 years or 3 years' time, people will say, oh, you see, the guy did well. I want that. That's what I want, because I want Nigerian sports to improve. But the way I say it, I might be right again. I've been right for too many years. I want to be wrong on this particular topic.
Okay, now, finally, before we leave that, there are two things that I want to talk about. Two, at the moment, non-existent, that used to be. First thing is we have a Minister of State for Petroleum. Again, there's no Minister of Petroleum, which seems to be a thing with a lot of our presidents. It happened with President Buhari. And after doing a bit of digging, it was not just President Buhari, it was a thing.
Obasanjo.
Yeah, everybody is. So, are we going to say that? Is President Tinubu saying that he's also the Minister of Petroleum?
I don't think it makes any sense and it makes any difference. Two things I said, and I'm going to explain. When President Buhari had, I think it was Emefiele Silva as
Minister of State,
who would appear whenever the Minister of Petroleum was summoned by the House of Assembly? It's Emefiele Silva.
Yeah.
So the fact that you call someone a Minister of State,
but he's the one doing all the work. He's doing all the work.
It's just the same. It's just nomenclature in this part here. So,
but maybe that means that anyway. When you think about it, all ministers answer to the president. Yeah. So last, it's still the same thing. Another one before we leave this whole matter is the fact that there is officially no Minister of Niger Delta anymore. Yeah. As the NDDC, who is supposed to be in charge of this, has now been moved to the office of the secretary to the federation. Yeah.
Maybe that's the fillip that they need in that sector, in that ministry. There are too many things that's wrong with that ministry. If you look at the amount of money that has been pumped in, now the Niger Delta deserves that and more. But all the people that they put there as ministers, they've not really done anything. And at times it's like a duplication of efforts. There's a Niger Delta ministry, there's a NDDC. You need to scrap one for one. Mm-hmm. And now that they've scrapped the ministry, the SGF has its work cut out, because that particular Niger Delta, you just hear about allocations, but you really don't see what they're doing.
What they're doing.
And if they're doing anything, it's not commensurate with what they get. The so-called forensic audits,
what came out?
Where is it? We're still waiting for it. It's been 2 years plus. We're waiting for it. We have not seen it. So it's a good one. And I want to chip in that one of the best things I heard was the creation of a Ministry of Tourism.
Yeah, there's a separate Ministry of Tourism now.
These are, like sports, tourism is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And if you actually have a proper Minister of Tourism that understands that they are sitting on a gold mine, treat tourism like gold. Treat sports like gold. Look at what Saudi Arabia is doing. Look at the amount of money they are spending. Look at the balls and the funds that Messi is generating for the major leagues. Not just the team that bought him, but the entire league and the entire USA.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the power of sports. Look at the money that's been voted into Formula One and all these other things. Look at how much Anthony Joshua made at the weekend. That is how powerful sports and tourism can be. Let us stop looking at only the resources in the ground and look at the resources on top of the ground that is readily available and easy for us to harness.
Okay, now, so let's move on from that quickly. Today, also, the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, has chaired the third National Economic Council meeting in Abuja today. So, a very interesting headline talking about Tinubu absent at the NEC meeting. He's not part of the NEC meeting. Just wanted to put it out there.
The ignorance in the media is becoming appalling and becoming so sad by the day. A big brand, well, we won't mention your name because let's help you. But people will still see it and they will think that you have written a story. Yeah. How can someone be absent for a meeting that is not a part of?
He's not a part of. The vice president chairs that council.
And if you're a media house and you don't know,
the president cannot be in a meeting. The vice president is the chairman.
Maybe you guys should stick to
those
your long winding human angle and entertainment stories. You know, those long woman slaps man and fix car.
I just think that we should be a bit more informative or more like
even misleading people.
You're misleading people. It doesn't make any sense, really. Just do a little bit of what's it called, and then you will check. Also, quickly, the federal government had announced a date to begin the survival wage disbursement of federal civil servants. So.
Well, speaking about dates, before we talk about that disbursement, on Monday, this new council will be set up. Tinubu's ministers will be sworn in on Monday. That's the date that they've set. If they don't change it again or something comes up, or they decide in the middle of the night to change. And I also hope that
but let's know what we are doing.
There won't be any hocus pocus again, because before you know it now, they'll tell you they're adding one name and removing 4 names.
Yeah.
But on Monday, expect the ministers to hit the ground. I don't know if they'll be running, but I know that they're definitely hitting the ground. Some of them will hit the ground.
We're back to the headlines. President presides over fake meeting.
Yeah. and I also wanted to chip in also that looking at the composition of Tinubu's team, it also looks like he's already planning ahead. Like he's looking at the kind of people that he can reshuffle. We've not had, throughout 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari, we did not have a cabinet reshuffle. We did not have a single cabinet reshuffle. Do you understand? But cabinet reshuffles were things that I grew up with, that things that we understood had to happen, because after at least 2 years on the job, you do an assessment and say, I think this person will function better in that ministry, and this person has to be kicked out, and this new person should be brought in, you know. And these are the things that, so it looks like the capacity for some of these guys to work in a certain ministry also shows you that they can still function in other ministries. And this is what I expect going forward in the next 12, 18 to 24 months.
Okay, so moving on from that, SR's friend is in the news again. Is like he had said yesterday, he's the headlines these days. Literally, for every day this week, we had a conversation about Godwin Emefiele, and it is the fact that he was supposed to be arraigned in court today.
Allegedly.
But his co-defendant, not allegedly, he was arraigned in court today. There's no allegation there.
Okay, sorry. I apologize.
Where he was.
I allegedly apologize.
There was story. You did not allegedly apologize. You did not. Let's call it spade a spade. There's no allegation.
My lawyer said that whenever we're talking about Emefiele,
you are this your lawyer.
That I should use allegedly.
You are this your lawyer.
Okay.
God will help you, and this your lawyer.
Amen. Amen. So Emefiele made it to court finally.
Yeah, he made it to court
again.
Today. He made it to court now.
Any red Bibles today?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
You were monitoring the courts for us now.
You know,
there was no red Bible.
There was no Bible today. There was no Bible.
But there was drama.
There was a bit of drama. There was there were stories of some people that said that he had stumbled, but I think that the man was just trying to make a phone call on the lawyer's phone, which I don't know if that is right or not, but maybe when he's with his lawyers, he can actually do that. Maybe that
he was trying to make a phone call in court, and he hid himself in a corner, and there was a barrage of cameras in his face.
And the lawyers were all, you should be professional.
They want pictures. He's just making a call.
They want pictures.
But
you can't blame them.
The real part of the drama for me is how his lawyers were speaking Yoruba to him. 2 of them.
Okay.
They were speaking Yoruba to him, and they were saying to him in Yoruba, which is my language, so I can interpret for you people who don't understand. They were saying to him, don't hide. Don't hide. Emma Sakpamo. Don't hide. And I'm like, okay, why was he hiding?
Why was he hiding? Everybody knows he's Godwin Emefiele. Why are you?
The reason why some people left their homes at 5 a.m.
I don't know why. Court. I don't know why what his plan was. Because if I remember, for someone that is as bold as coming to tell people,
if you want to fight, let us fight.
Let us fight.
Allegedly.
There's no allegation. There's a video.
Doruba has confirmed this, so please speak to her.
It's not a matter of what's it called.
So he allegedly wanted to fight.
He might have wanted to fight, allegedly.
But now he has lost all his energy.
he actually said, "Let us fight." He said it. It's not a matter of
the funny
allegation.
thing about Emefiele and him hiding is that the next thing we heard was that some people said he fell. Some people said
he stumbled.
Or he
some said people said I'm dying.
He's dying. He doesn't feel this. This is what is reported. What we're telling you now. It's not allegedly. It's reported. So this is what I have to say. It is when these people get into trouble that they start
That's when they suddenly falls ill.
They start having dizzy spells.
Because
they are stumbling and falling and wobbling and fumbling. They are coming to court with neck braces, and you know, I think they're just making a mockery of the old court process.
Totally agree with you.
I've always said that they should move some courts to the prisons, so that way there's no cost of transportation.
So it's safe to say that he has now been moved from Lagos to Abuja.
In moving the courts, they should also move an hospital there, so that they will do full. In fact, every of these high-profile guys, let them do CT scan and body scan. For you. Or guy, you must be well, and you must go through this case.
I have a few issues though with the way I think I said the government or the DSS is going about this matter. Now, the federal government, yes, we know that is the Department of Public Prosecution that is going into this. Now, all the things that have been put up, all the charges against him at the moment are all bailable offenses. The one that will say that might have been a little difficult was the illegal possession of arms, which as of today, the court has now granted the motion that charge is withdrawn.
Yeah.
So
this is...
Except they come up with
but it's a flight risk. Remember that he was arrested on his way out of the country.
But there is a bail in place. This other one
it's
too.
A flight risk.
Because this whole case now, the highest they can get is 5 years in jail.
Yeah, didn't I say it yesterday?
So that's what I'm saying. That except you come up with some...
There's more, don't worry.
Fantastic...
There's more.
How are you so sure?
Allegedly.
I thought your lawyer said you should say allegedly.
I just said there's more. I think there could be more zobo. There could be more drink. There is more.
You are your lawyer.
There will be more allegations. There will be more accusations. There will be more cases for him to answer. This 20 count charge is just the appetizer. You know, we're appetizing and you understand.
You're appetizing or you're appetizing?
Appetizing. You understand? Then when we are doing appetizing, we're now going to give him the main course back. Boom. You understand? There's going to be, in this case, there will be allegedly at least 100 count charges. Because there will still be counts of how Nigeria suffered because of his terrible policies.
Okay.
Allegedly.
Anyway, sadly, the Defense HQ has now confirmed that actually 36 officers were killed in Niger State last week. Was it last week or early this week? It was this week. 2 officers and 34 military officials actually lost their lives in that issue. There's also talks of how more military have now been deployed to that place to clear up the place. Yeah, but so it's just a sad.
So it was like an evac. They're gone there to evacuate and rescue people. It was a rescue mission, and they got caught up in it. And one of the sad things that has happened there is that now a terrorist organization has claimed responsibility. So it wasn't just that the helicopter crashed. They're claiming that they brought it down. So this is a very sad one. And I've seen pictures and images of the men who were on that mission.
Please, at this point,
young Nigerians.
Super Tucano.
So the next day, there was actually a reception the next day. The Nigerian Air Force responded, and there were great balls of fire.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they were there in their might, and they just gave them. Was it shawarma? There was a lot of shawarma being served. Yeah.
Why shawarma?
So the terrorists have had some enjoyment, but now they will enjoy more because, like you said, the military is going to shift focus.
You definitely need to be cleared of.
There are things that we can't confirm yet that have been said to emanate from the governor of Niger. I really hope it's not true, so that's why we will not talk about it now. But it's a sad one, and our condolences to the families of the men who have lost their
Gallant
lives.
men,
Yeah.
very gallant of them.
Very sad.
Also, the DSS has now alerted the Nigeria Railway Corporation over possible bandits' attack again. On the Abuja Kaduna train service. And then you now wonder why again. Isn't this going to cause some level of panic?
Well, if the panic will lead to results, fine. First thing is to let people know that you shouldn't panic, but just be careful, be aware and of your environment. Don't let anything, put you under any pressure, because for the DSS to bring it out, that means there's a lot of work that is being done about it already. I must say kudos to them, because it's good that we get this early signal. They can quickly look at.
But isn't it also better if they did not announce it?
At times they would announce things, at times they won't. It's about strategy, it's about knowing what they want to do. At times they use it to flush out this terrible people. But again, I want to say kudos to them. The fact that they are on top of it, and that they are alerted is very good. Now, when the other train hijacking happened, the same Kaduna Abuja rail track, the then Minister of Transportation was quoted as saying that there was supposed to be some kind of equipment that
was supposed to be installed. Yeah.
Now, what we also need to understand is that it actually costs a lot of money to monitor a rail track. Apart from the technology that you want to deploy, they also use, the helicopters and the aeroplanes, and they put in some hotspots. We have soldiers lined up around that area, and some contractors also, military contractors also. So in all of this, we must, commend what the government has done, but also ask them to do more. Now, I like the way that they are taking the battle to this terrorist, because if they're able to also get that information, maybe they'll be able to prevent a lot of these things before they happen.
Okay, now that's moving on from that quickly. Also, Katsina State has now said that they're set to buy about 7.8 billion naira worth of equipment to combat banditry and terrorism in the state.
Security is not something that you take lightly. And when you hear about the huge budgets, at times people are drawn by the amount. Why? Well, you see, I don't think it's too much
I don't think so too.
if you look at the results that they hope to get from it. And we really should commend the governor of Katsina for being proactive. The other part of me feels sad that some people will just sit down and create trouble, and some people have to benefit from the trouble that some people have created. I'm not bringing out any conspiracy theories. I'm just saying that some people create viruses, and there's a company selling antivirus. Some people create problem, and there's a companies, or there are companies selling what might solve the problems, while there's still many people that are hungry out there.
Okay, so moving on from that quickly, and then moving on to something all the way to Anambra State, where the state government has now said that they've shut down a particular orphanage called Arrows of God Community Children's Home at the Oyi local government area of the state. And I've closed it permanently, according to the State Commissioner for Women and Social Affairs, or Social Welfare. They had talked about when they went to a company of security personnel. They found children up to about 20, including a newborn, and there was no adult. The owner of the place and staff had all fled.
All right, so let us take you a little bit back to the story about this Arrows of God orphanage in Anambra State. Kudos to Fisayo Shoyombo, right?
Yeah.
I hope I got his name.
Yeah.
Great guy. He's done a lot of work, and he's, I think, what you would call a proper investigative journalist, and he really immersed himself in this. So he must have gotten a tip-off about an orphanage being run by, I think the man is a former military man or something, and you
I think
actually
it's supposed to be a reverend or something like that. And
you know
yeah, it's
you,
a reverend.
you actually use your orphanage to sell. You sell babies. You know, in the it is at times unthinkable, but it's actually happening.
It is
People are
what it is,
selling
yeah.
and buying children.
Yeah.
And so what he did was put out a video, and of course the feedback from that is that Anambra State has reacted to it. And you see, these orphanages exist in different parts of the world and different parts of Nigeria. So it's not even a tribal or a regional thing.
No.
The beauty of it is that someone has done the work and the government has responded. However, let us all help to look out and be our brother's keeper. Look around you. You know, there are funny orphanages and funny churches and religious organizations. Please be a whistleblower to save lives, because look at the amount of children that government has to take into their possession and hopefully give them a new life, because
A new life, yeah.
they might have been sold already, and for a resale to happen, you get it's so sad.
It is very
It's
sad.
so sad.
Very, very
So
sad.
kudos to Fisayo Shoyombo.
Yep. And now moving on, let's move on from all that. And let's move on to a little bit of international stories. One of the very interesting stories is we're going to India, where it has now been said that they've removed tomatoes from burger that is being sold just because the soaring
It have cost.
price. It of course.
It
They
have
said that
cost.
there was a bad harvest and it has become ridiculously expensive. And in fact, there are pictures of burgers being sold at Burger King without tomatoes.
Maybe we should now call them burger prince until they can get.
Oh
tomato.
my God!
Because
really?
they're not. You know, the tomato is the crown on the burger.
No,
You
it's not.
understand?
No,
so,
it's not.
So without the tomato,
No, it's not.
or so when I say tomato,
It's tomato.
people say tomato and tomato, potato.
No, it's not. You
know,
don't say
so
potato.
Look at you.
You do not say potato.
Okay, what about porero?
You don't say porero. They are all
Porero.
wrong. Nobody says those kind of things.
Porero. You don't know people say porero
Doesn't make it right.
or tomorrow.
This doesn't make
Tomorrow.
it right. There's
It's
not tomorrow.
tomorrow.
There's nothing like tomorrow.
So, fellow netizens of the world, Burger King, a few for you. I'm demoting you to Burger Prince until you can get the tomatoes back. You understand? Once we get our tomatoes back, then, because we're actually going to go to India for burgers this weekend, but now, look at what you've done. Just look at what you've done. Just look at you. Look at you. Now, I'm also going to use this
You
to
need to
talk,
call your lawyer at this point.
because I'm telling Burger King that they are Burger Prince. Am I the one that said they should not fulfill their promises to us? They told us that there was going to be tomatoes in our burger. Now, a few months ago, and we're still in it actually, Nigeria, tomato harvest was badly hit, and people went on and on and on about it. They went on, they even politicized it again, because we need a deeper understanding of everything. You shouldn't just jump on the bandwagon and start to talk and, yakety. But however, it's happening in India. I feel for them, and we need to understand that it's just one big village, and what can happen in my side of the village can happen in another side. So let us not always sell ourselves short.
All right, and still talking about India quickly. In India at the moment, the World Health Organization is having its first summit on traditional medicine.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I think since 2014 or thereabout, the WHO World Health Organization has been, doing one or two things in that area when it comes to alternative medicine, traditional medicine, and all. And the difference is that the main health system that we are now used to, science-based, and it's structured in a certain way. Traditional medicine is structured on its own too, but it doesn't conform to the white medicine or the formal medicine, because I don't want to denigrate traditional medicine, because again, a lot of things from traditional medicine has found its way to the other side of medicine.
Yeah.
And you also know that some of the treatments that
A lot of these things are gotten from the local things.
They're plant-based,
Yeah.
and they are gotten from the traditional sources also.
Yeah.
So one of the things that the WHO can do, and I hope all of us will do, is to make it more organized and better understood by people, so that you understand that you should not denigrate traditional medicine. There are certain things that we must understand, that, and that's what traditional medicine does. They tend to be more of natural solutions to things. I know that, again, some of those things are they look like it's based on some whims at times or some feeling. Yeah, but if we can help them, communicate better, we might just be living in a world where your either choice that you take
works perfectly.
Will work for you.
Works perfectly.
But the old thing that the WHO wants to do is to make healthcare available for all.
Now moving on from that, move on to Malaysia. Now, why I saw this story and got interested is because something very similar happened in Lagos State, Ikeja to be precise, about 2 weeks ago, if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty much really scary, and thankfully nobody got hurt. Now, about the same thing has happened now, and 10 people have lost their lives. And this is where a private jet had crashed into a road while attempting to land in Malaysia. 2 motorists and 8 people on board the plane were killed when the plane hit the Guthrie Highway near Elmina.
Sad. Really sad. And, of course, we once again commiserate with the people who have lost their loved ones and members of their family. And it's closer home. The reason why we say that is remembering, like Dolupo said, you draw a parallel between what a similar incident that happened in Lagos and how.
Yeah, we saw videos of it where a whole tanker had just moved a few seconds before the plane went boom. Mm-hmm. And nobody lost their lives. Like it was such a very surreal thing that happened. But we just really, it's just a very sad incident, really. And specifically with all the things happening all over the world with wildfires. Just earlier today, there were stories of, I think, Germany's largest airport being shut down because of storms. There's so much happening all around the world at the moment.
The world is going through a lot.
It is. It definitely is. Now, let's move on from that and move on to a little bit of sports, as Manchester City has now defeated Sevilla on penalties to win the first ever UEFA Super Cup.
Yeah, congratulations to the blue side of Manchester.
Mm-hmm.
It's an honor that is well deserved. Arguably, they still have the strongest team in Europe.
They do. There's it's the game ended 1-1, so it's kind of also on a bit. There's a little bit of conversation around that, but also
carry on. No, carry
but
on.
also there is the conversation now that Pep Guardiola has now made history again, where he's now the first manager to win the Super Cup with 3 different teams.
Yeah, he's done that. He did it in Spain, did it in Germany, and now he's done it in England. So he's in line to, be listed with the greats when you're talking about. Yeah,
give him his flowers.
The biggest and the best coaches ever. Mm-hmm. Pep Guardiola is definitely going to be one of the names that you're going to mention. On the lighter note, someone had tweeted that since Arsenal defeated Man City, and Man City now won the Super Cup, and City are now the kings of Europe, that means Arsenal are the king of kings. And I laughed. I'm like, Arsenal fans no go kill Bessie for this town. That you have to start weaving your team, one way or the other. But it's honor well deserved once again. Congratulations to City. Without KDB, you all still did it, So good one. Nice one. I try.
Exactly. And still talking a bit about sports. The English players, the PFA Player Award shortlist has been released. Pretty short shortlist. It has 6 people on it. There are 3 Manchester City players, 2 Arsenal players, and one former Tottenham player, because I'm wondering, like, is he still going to be on that list? Or if he doesn't win, then it won't be an issue, right? I'm just saying. So on that list, there's Erling Haaland, there's Kevin De Bruyne and John Stones that have been nominated. There's Bukayo Saka and Martin Odegaard and Harry Kane.
I guess they don't call it a short list for nothing. It is a short list.
So that's my question. Like, so what if Harry Kane wins?
He wins because it's for what he had done in the period under review. It's not for what he's about to do. So the fact that he's moved, to another country doesn't mean that he doesn't deserve to win if he wins. If he's voted as the player's player, yeah, it's an honor well deserved too.
Okay, and still talking about this same PFA, it is beautiful to know that Nigeria's music star Davido will now perform at the 50th Professional Football Association Award. At this particular awards show, he's going to be performing.
Yeah, congratulations to him. Nigerian artists just keep, breaking new barriers, keep moving higher and higher. Who would have thought a couple of years ago that the Nigerian would be,
they'll be headlining a lot of these things.
The main act at an award in England of professional footballers. It's their 50th edition, so they also have, a golden boy to come through. So congratulations to Davido on this one.
And on that note, that is all we're able to take today on the Boombar. Thank you for listening. Thank you very, very much for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. West African time to give you another wonderful edition of The Bar. Do have a beautiful, beautiful day ahead.